What is up, people of YouTube? So here again with another video, looking a bit of a state. I've only been up about 10-15 minutes, hence the coffee in the Batman mug. So guys, as the title of the video says, I am back on a ketogenic diet. Now, if you've watched earlier videos of mine, you'll know that I did try keto for a little bit in the past. I did it for about 8 weeks. And I really enjoyed it, and I did actually see some I saw the results I wanted to. It was like a mini cut I did, and I actually saw, body fat drop, and I actually maintained a decent amount of the muscle mass I had while on it. And that's part of the reason why I'm going back to keto now. This isn't a temporary thing. This is actually something I'm probably looking to do as a lifestyle change. I'm looking to maintain this keto lifestyle for a good while now. Now what's prompted it is, I'm getting married in May and my honeymoon is in June, and I've never been in a position whereby I've been at a low body fat percentage enough to, take my top off on a beach or something, have visible muscle definition everywhere and be really confident about my body. I've never ever been in a position like that. Never been overly confident with my with what I've been happy with it, but never overly confident with it. So that's the idea. I've been looking at different cutting methods, and really I just looked down to the one that worked for me, the one that saw me drop body fat, and it was keto. So it just made sense for me to go back to it because I found it easy to sustain. I enjoyed it, and it gave me the results I wanted, and I figured if I do it for a longer period of time, I'm probably going to see better results. So I thought I would kind of break this video down into 5 reasons why I've decided to go onto keto, because then at least that way, for people that are potentially thinking about trying the diet method, then they can give it a go for themselves, or maybe get a bit of advice from this video. So keto coffee is one of them, because keto coffee is fucking life-changing. So reason number 1 is it works. Quite frankly, it's a diet method that does have a lot of science behind it, because it gets questioned and criticized so much. It kind of, people who follow the ketogenic diet or promote the ketogenic diet have to kind of back it up with a lot of science. And just a very brief overview, if you want to know what keto is, there are people that explain it far better than what I do. But in a nutshell, when you deprive your body of carbohydrates, which is what you do on keto, you do low carb, moderate protein, high fat. You deprive your body of carbohydrate, which is your body's preferred method of energy and fuel. When it is looking for that fuel source and can't find any, it then turns to fat cells. It converts fat cells into a usable energy source called ketones, uses that for energy instead of carbohydrates, hence why for a cutting method it's fantastic, because it burns body fat. In a nutshell. So that is why it's I like the amount of science that's gone behind this diet type. There's a lot of people that I follow that have seen body fat drop with this diet type, and what was very attractive for me was the maintenance of muscle mass also. Just one example is Jason Whitrock. He's probably one of the biggest names in keto at the moment. He's a fantastic guy to follow. I'd highly recommend it to get some more information on keto, but he's got a fantastic physique. He's a very healthy guy, and he's very, very knowledgeable about the science behind keto, so someone very much you should look to follow. Now, the method of keto I follow is I do track my macros. I mean, my macros, because the way keto works is you have to break your percentage of calories down into fat, carbohydrates, and into protein as well. And as I said, it has to be high fat, and it has to be moderate protein and low carbohydrates. Now, my kind of breakdown for what's classified as a small calorie deficit, because I'd like a gradual weight loss, because I've got a fair few months until my honeymoon, is you've got 70% of my calories are coming from fat. That's because I'm having 195 grams a day. 19% of my calories are coming from protein. I'm having 109 grams of protein. I usually cap it at 110, and then 25 grams of carbs a day. Now that's how I do it, and I do use my Fitness Pal. I do track it and I do log it because I don't mind it. but that's why I do keto, because for me, when I tried it for 8 weeks, it did what it said on the tin. Now, the third reason that I do keto is a financial one. It's a cheaper diet. Now, this is because when I was doing If It Fits Your Macros, I was buying all the lean meats, 5% ground beef, chicken breast, turkey breast, was never buying pork, was never really buying any other, like lamb, I was never really buying like any other type of meat. So obviously the lean meats are a lot more expensive than the fattier cuts. And also, I was buying a lot of carb sources and things like that. The great thing about keto is I'm not buying carbohydrate sources anymore, and albeit they're not all expensive, but they do add up because I was eating a lot of it, and I'm now able to buy the cheaper meat. So rather than when I go into the store getting the 5% fat ground beef, I can actually get the 20% fat ground beef, because as you'll hear many chefs say, fat is moisture, fat is flavour. They're not wrong. It does taste better because there's more fat in it. But because I have a lot of fat to get in a day, it means that I do have to look at the fattier sources. And initially when I tried keto, I struggled to hit that fat macro. I was like, how the hell do I get this much fat in without eating shit? But then you just get clever and you have the fattier meats, and obviously you then look at other sources like avocados, dairy and things like that. So, but it also, as I said guys, it makes for a cheaper shop. I can get the cheaper cuts of meat. I can get things like whole chickens and, roast them, cut them up and meal prep them, way cheaper than just getting chicken breast. I can get a whole pork shoulder, slow roast it, have pulled pork. A whole pork shoulder here with me in the UK is anywhere between £3 to £5, but it will feed me for a good couple of days. Whereas a £5 pack of chicken breast will probably feed me for a day, maybe. So it's a really, really good way of kind of cutting that cost down of shopping, because fat sources are quite cheap as well. Creams, cheeses. Really the most expensive thing I buy are avocados, really. Reason number 4 is it's a hugely supported movement. Now, if you go onto YouTube and type in keto, there are so many enthusiastic, well-educated people online there to motivate and help educate you in terms of the keto lifestyle. And that's what I really, really enjoy, because you've got, so as I said, one example, Jason Whitrock is probably the main guy that inspired me to go onto keto, because they're so well educated. They don't just turn around and go, it works. They will actually sit there and give you the science behind it and as to why, and you just tend to find as well, it's great to see people from different walks of life integrating keto into their lifestyle. There is one, I'm really bad, I can't remember her name, but I know her Instagram is K Salon. She is a girl in Texas. She's in college. She's following keto, so different to someone like Jason. And then I think her name is Michelle Rock. You have someone like her who's a mum. She's a mum of 2, I think. And again, she's following keto. But it's great to see how you can integrate keto into different types of lifestyles. It's a hugely adaptable diet, and it's great to see other people following it for motivation and inspiration. The next reason, guys, is really it's the feeling of being satisfied. When I was on If It Fits Your Macros and I was eating carbs, I would smash, let's say, a portion of 300 grams of sweet potato, 300 grams of chicken breast and some veggies. I'd smash that, and 2 hours later I would be hungry and ready to eat again. I don't get that on keto. And the thing about that was, as much as I was eating more, because it was great because I was trying to put on size, and now that I'm trying to really just, been training for a while now, never been in a position, as I said, where I've had a low body fat percentage where I could actually have definition everywhere. Doesn't work. And also it means that, I was kind of, where my job is very fast paced, I'm, up on my feet a lot of the time. I don't have time to have 4 or 5 meals a day, unfortunately, and my job will come first because it's what pays for this roof over my head. So I'm not going to go, my fitness is more important than my job. No, I'm not a fucking moron. But I found myself in a position where I was going for long periods of being hungry, and I'd prep 5 meals, I come home and I still got maybe like 2-3 meals left in my bag, and it's 10 o'clock at night, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm only going to be able to get like 1 or 2 of these meals in unless I stay up really late or just gorge on a shitload of food. But then the great thing about keto is, you know, I will have my keto coffee in the morning, keeps me quite satisfied. I will then have maybe 2 to 3 meals, which fits perfectly for me in my lifestyle throughout the day. And then I've hit my macros, I feel really satisfied, I'm not hungry, I've enjoyed the food I've eaten, and it puts me in a position whereby it just fits perfectly into my lifestyle and my current state of working. It just means that I'm able to hit those macros relatively easy, and the amount of times I have to eat in the day fits perfectly. So, and it also feels me feeling a lot more satisfied, not full as in, but as in, you know, satisfied as in I'm content. I can wait a good few hours now before I eat again. So works really, really well for that. Another reason, guys, why keto I find for me personally is more sustainable is because I find going out to dinner is easier on a keto diet than if it fits your macros, or on, you know, like just a generic low carb diet. The reason I say this is because most restaurants will serve a side of salad or greens, most restaurants, and they will give you the option of a main course of a fattier meat. So they will use, most restaurants will do a steak, most restaurants may do like some sort of chicken dish, anything like that. So all you do is you look at the menu and you find the fattier meat option and you swap out the carb sides for, you know, greens and things. For example, last night I went to the Harvester. It's a big kind of pub chain in the UK, does ribs, steaks, burgers, does everything, guys. It's a really cool place. And this type of restaurant, you know, I wanted to go for ribs, thought, pork, protein, fat's good, but it's smothered in barbecue sauce, which is going to be loaded with, I know instinctively, carbs and sugar. So I looked at it, there was a mixed grill, it had a steak, it had a gammon steak, it had a pork sausage and a fried egg. So I looked at that and I thought, okay, cool, fattier meat types, wicked. But then the sides were onion rings, fries, corn on the cob. So I said, okay. So when it came, they had the other sides listed on the menu. One of the sides was green beans and peas. So I said, can I swap out all the sides for green beans and peas, please? Just like a bigger portion. And they were like, yeah, wicked, no worries. Obviously went onto MyFitnessPal, found all of this from like the Harvester itself. On there, loaded it on, works perfectly. Finished yesterday with, I think, 26 grams of carbs, but then I had like 2 fibre, so 24 net grams of carbs. Worked perfectly. So I personally find going out to eat is much easier on keto, because then you can actually, every single restaurant has the adaptability to keto, I find. Five Guys, you can remove the bun, done. You know, most places, steak and greens, done. You know, little things like that. So I find it's a little bit easier and more adaptable outside of, you know, the confines of home or work, you know, and you can still enjoy a meal outside. And the last reason, guys, simply, as you know, I'm a foodie, I love to cook. It's a fucking tasty way of living. I think everyone in life has a preference between carbs or fats. Someone, you know, I think we all have an inkling towards one. Some people love carbs. Like, for example, my missus, she's a massive carb junkie, you know, like keto would not work for her because she does have that craving for carbs, which is absolutely fine. She does if it fits your macros, and that works for her. No need for her to go on to keto. For me personally, and I think a lot of other people, when it comes to the choice of would I like a really naughty carb sauce or fat sauce, I'd always prefer fats. You know, I love fucking sour cream, I love cheeses, I love the moister cut of meat, I love chicken thighs, I love, you know, kind of the slightly higher marbling on a steak, you know, things like that. You know, and this means I can incorporate this preference into my diet. I just have to be careful around it to make sure that, you know, I am keeping that protein relatively moderate and the carbs super low, which I personally don't mind. I'm not sat here going, I think this is day 5 or 6 for me on keto, and I'm not sat here thinking, oh fuck, like, oh, you know, I really need some carbs in me. I don't, because I'm very, very satisfied with my you know, with my diet, and I'm very happy that I get to eat the foods that I can now eat. Alright guys, that's it. So just wanted to kind of run you guys through why I'm back on keto, you know, sort of a bit of kind of background and knowledge on the decision I've made, why it fits in for me. So my channel from now, I'm going to make it very heavily keto focused, because I do support the diet type. I know a lot of people don't. Even like last night I was out for dinner chatting to a friend of mine. He was like, I call bullshit on this diet, it's crap, how can you eat fat and be healthy and get shredded on that? Bollocks. And to be honest, I'm expecting that from a lot of people, because it goes against what we're taught. You know, we're taught that fat is bad, and we're taught that, you know, carbs are good and stuff like this. But I'm not food shaming. I mean, I've done the carb thing. You know, I don't think that. I think, you know, it's about finding a diet type that works for you. As long as there's science to back it up, you're pretty safe. You're pretty okay. No, I am just wanted to give a little bit of background on why I've decided to go to keto. So from now, channel is going to be kind of keto focused, going to do keto recipes. I'm going to be doing kind of hoping to try and get into vlogging a bit more, kind of full days of eating and things like that. And then also, you know, in kind of the future, I'll be able to kind of talk you guys through the differences I've seen on keto, and also the challenges I've seen on keto. So stay tuned, guys, and yeah, got lots of cool stuff to come.